Good afternoon, everyone. It is afternoon here in Chisinau, and it is night in India, 8 p.m.
Vieni qua, Samini, sono fatta così.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It is
Joanna, good afternoon.
night in India, 8 p.m.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
So, let me introduce our today's speaker. This is Dr. Madhavi Latha from India, who will teach us today about teaching learning process, teaching learning circle. So be active and good luck with your presentation, Doctor. Will teach us today about teaching learning process, teaching learning circle. So be active and good luck with your presentation, Doctor.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Anna, are you there? Nicole? Hello, Kathy?
They say hello in the chat.
Yeah, yes. Hello.
So let's start with the presentation. So you repeat the same steps.
Okay. Okay. 1 second, Irina. Just I'm changing my earphones. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Hello? Hello, Irina?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I have changed my earphones now. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Because this is a evening for us, I'm glad to talk to you. I have been awaiting all these days to meet you and to teach what I learned. I'm Dr. Madhavi, as Irina has introduced. I have been teaching to the adult learners for the past 30 years and have done many courses. And with all my experience, I would like to share how a teacher can become a better teacher. We can call it as an experiential learning. That is, with all my experience, how a teacher can become a good teacher and better teacher, and also how to become a best teacher. So, with all my experience, I'd like to share certain very important points how a teacher can manage the class and how to improve and how to take the feedback and how to ask our peers to observe, that is peer observation and reflections, and what is the scope we have to fill the gaps, what are the gaps we have. That's all the thing that I want to tell you today. So shall I start with my PowerPoint presentation? Let's go to the slides now. Okay, this is my first slide. The experiential learning makes a teacher a good teacher to a better teacher and a better teacher to the best teacher. I have prepared certain points here. Good teachers are not born, they are made, right? Hope you agree with that. Teacher has to become a learner before teaching. Do you agree with that? Without learning anything, we cannot go directly to the classroom. And we have to face a problem if you go without learning. So teacher has to become a learner before teaching. Then he or she needs support from colleagues also, because when we are sitting in the department or when we are preparing for the lesson or preparing a lesson plan, we have to discuss with our colleagues because sharing the thoughts and sharing the ideas will give us a lot more strength to go to the class. Then teacher has to go for self-analysis and must realize that internal and external motivation is essential. When we are in the department or over a cup of tea, anywhere, we will be talking about the classroom experiences and sharing our ideas and thoughts with each other. And there we need to get our motivation. That is from internal motivation and also external motivation. And these two are very, very essential for a teacher. It is essential even for the learner. So learner needs to have a lot of motivation. We have to motivate our students, especially when they are learning the target language, which is not their mother tongue. We have to teach them a lot. We have to motivate them. At home, they must be motivated. In the class, with their peers, they must be motivated. And the teacher has to motivate them. And the learner must have self-motivation. And we have to change as per the scenario, as we do not have teacher-centered classrooms these days. We have to change accordingly because these days we have screen share. What I mean to say is internet age disease, screen ages. The adults in the sorry, what we are teaching us, they are all screen ages. The new word, I got it. That is screen ages because they are learning a lot more things by sitting at home with the help of internet connections. With the internet, they are doing online courses. They can learn the poem. They can get any kind of information for any other subject. So every child or every student has a smartphone. Then anywhere at any place, they can have this type of facility for them to develop. So we have to change according to the scenario because in olden days and previously we were having teacher-centered classrooms, right? That is, teacher has to teach from the bell to bell, and where we find that teacher's talking time will be more, and they will not involve any students. So the teacher will continue till the whole 50 minutes of class. They were called as teacher-centered classrooms. Now, gone are the days. Now we are in the learner-centered classrooms. That means we have to involve our students in the learning process. We have to give them tasks, make them talk, make them discuss. We can ask them to do pair work and group work. So like that, they can share in the classroom and learn the thing that is because they are all screen agers. And the classrooms will be very active classrooms because all the students will be involved along with the active learner and slow learner, advanced learner. All type of students will be involved and the classroom scenario will be entirely active. So what I want to say is, and I would like to talk on a particular word in this class today, that is reflections. You know what is reflection is. That is, in other words, it can be called as analyzing oneself. That is self-reflection. And it happens while teaching. Here, the teacher has to check the understanding of learners. So because simply going on teaching it will be meaningless. So what we have to do, the teacher has to check the understanding of the learners. We have to observe, and we must stop teaching for a while, and you must interact with the students. You must pose some questions and make them alert, and we can give them some warming up activities in the middle and make them active and try to understand the understanding level of the student by asking questions. Teacher can change teaching concept at a particular context in a different manner because while stopping here, you will stop there and ask them what they are doing. Are they able to understand? Take the feedback. And when we are teaching that, we go generally with a lesson plan. So we have some steps over there, and that the class is not going according to the lesson plan because some context has some problem has arisen one person is not learning and he's talking, a heckler in the class. And then we have to pose a question and then we have to change the task to involve even the slow learner. And what we have to do then to change the task? Already we have a lesson plan and we have a problem arised over there and we stop teaching and we post a question. So you must think, immediately you must think then, so what is happening over here? Why the method what I decided to use today is not working maybe? So let me change. Let me change it in a different manner. Let me go there and observe and ask the student, pat him and see and try to facilitate him. There you need to change your role, the role of the teacher as a facilitator. You have to go to them, go to the particular boy and facilitate and ask him what the problem is. And the student will feel free to talk to you because you will be more friendly at the time. So the distance between the teacher and the learner will be reduced and the student will feel comfortable and he or she will get the express their doubts. So then what you have to do, that is called as a in reflection. So that is in reflection means at the time of teaching, if the step what we have taken is not working properly, we have to change then and there itself. That is in reflection. Then another reflection is there, that is after the task it will be done on reflection. That is, after completion of the class, you go and share your ideas to your colleagues in the department or over a cup of tea in the canteen. You tell them that today it had happened like this. So I'm contemplating on that, and then I'm contemplating on that what had happened in the class today. So I think I realized that this is not working maybe properly. So how best I can do differently? And tomorrow I'd like to change my lesson plan according to the level of understanding of the student, right? So that is on reflection. So I'm talking about two reflections, very important points here for the teachers, in reflection and on reflection. In reflection means changing at the time of teaching. If a problem arises, a situational change or a contextual change, then thinking on that, pondering over it, you have to try to change the plan of teaching. That is called as on reflection. So this we have to maintain this, we have to realize that learning is a reflective activity. So in this reflective activity, both the teacher and the student, teaching learning process takes place correctly only if you follow this type of reflection. So learning is a reflective activity which enables learners to acquire new knowledge with previous experience. So teacher with every experience, every class is an experience for the teacher, and every year we have to change our lesson plans because we'll be gaining experience year by year and class by class. So our teaching notes, everything has to be changed. Then we should involve the learners by giving tasks with pair activities, pair and group activities. So task-based teaching is very essential to involve the student in teaching learning process, depending upon the standard of their learning and know their level of understanding and design some tasks, involve them, and we'll get so many tasks to involve the students. So student will be curious. Both the slow learner can also become active by giving the tasks and by involving the learner. Teachers, TTT, triple T I have used. Teachers' talk time will be reduced and students' talk time will be increased. So the noise that they produce is a productive noise. So some of your teachers may ask you, your students are making hell of noise, and you should tell them, no, that is a productive noise. They are talking in English. They are using the target language. The noise that the students are producing is not a waste. It is a productive noise. They are not whiling away the time. They are trying to help each other. It is a collaborative learning. So here the students' talk time will be increased, and whereas the teacher's talk time will be decreased. That is called as learner-centered classroom, and your classroom will become a good class and student, all the students can involve and learn many things. Then we have to integrate the students with ICT basic teaching, and the knowledge of the teacher be enhanced with the new trends of teaching. And teacher, our knowledge is also increasing day by day. As a senior teacher, I was something earlier. Now I'm different. I'm changed entirely because I'm changing according to the changes. We need to change. You're still young. You are at the first rung of the ladder, and you have to learn more things. So the knowledge of the teacher be enhanced with the new trends of changing. So this is the digital era, and the students are very active. So we have to change a lot. Teacher has to become a learner. The teacher will realize the knowledge and understanding of knowledge will not be sufficient. Hence, the teacher must be in continuous proficiency development. Hope you all accept with this continuous proficiency development. So, what's that? We call it as CPD, continuous proficiency development. So, this development will help you a lot. There are many courses, these online courses. You must have a communities, you must have workshops, and you can have a conversation with the next college or next institution students. So, with all this community learning, we can develop our continuous proficiency development because teacher is an eternal learner. There is no end for acquiring knowledge. So we must become an eternal learners. So then what I want to tell you is a teacher must have then how to maintain these reflections. So we must have reflective journals. You might have heard about this word earlier, and it has become a buzzword these days. Teacher must have a reflective journal. It can be either a diary or an online page or Evernote or OneNote. These are all available here. So we can make use of a notes or anything, a notebook, a diary. So we call it as reflective journal. So what we have to write in the journal? We can note our experience in the class immediately. So after that, we may forget. And any new point that can be added, you may get an idea, you can add there. And you may get a doubt on particular concept. That also you can write. And later you can refer to the dictionary and ask your colleague. There is nothing wrong in asking and learning the understanding level of the student. If so, depending upon the understanding level of the students, all these things takes place. And if some slow learners fail to understand, what steps the teacher can take up, that is again should be written in reflective journal. Then you can reflect on your teaching methods, and you may realize that you can change the method of teaching by giving new tasks. So all these things can be done in a reflective journal. So here, then the experiential means. The experiential learning is also called as a based on reflections. Experiential means learning through reflections. So these reflections, both of them in reflection and on reflection, will help us to learn a lot on doing thought, thinking, contemplation, and pondering over it. And analyzing the lesson taught by the teacher is very important aspect. So how do you know whether your student learned or not? How do you understand whether your students are able to catch up you? And how do you understand the level of understanding of the students? So what you have to do? You have to post questions in the middle. So actually, a teacher will have a lesson plan. We call it as a tailor-made lesson plan. It should be scientifically prepared. That means it must have a proper order. Your lesson plan must have an aim. You must have an object. So what the student is going to learn at the end of the class, with what aim you are teaching that particular lesson, and what are your objectives. That is very important. Your objectives, aim and objectives are very important. You must have a plan what you are going to teach and what the student is going to learn by the end of that class. Then time management. You must have prepared the time, how many hours, how many minutes you can teach that particular poem or anything. And the materials used. What are the material you are used? The course book or any authentic material, or preparing a, showing a PowerPoint presentation, like that. And stages of the lesson. These are all things we have to prepare. So stages of the lesson means we have to like prepare like step 1, step 2, step 3, like that, depending upon the lesson. There we have to start the class with pre-teaching activity, then while teaching activities, and post-teaching activities, that is home tasks. What are the takeaway skills that student is taking away that day? We have to note down what skills you are giving to the students to take away to his home, and what he is going to do, what tasks you have given to a particular student, and how he can develop. He can ask his siblings, and he can, if he has a good environment at home, he can discuss with his siblings and parents, and he will enjoy that in the home. That is home tasks what you are giving. Then, so remedial methods. After knowing all these things, you must, by this you must have an understanding of the learning capacity of the students. With that learning capacity, you may find some weak learners, and you have to think about some remedial methods. So to use that, you have to these activities like pair work, group work, and we must see that they are paired with an advanced learner, and you must see that some advanced learners must be in each group so that they can help each other, because a learner will feel free to ask and talk with his peer rather than to the teacher. So these pair work, group work, and peer teaching activities will help the learners to feel free to ask any questions. Then we have to change the roles as a teacher. We have to become a mentor, we have to become a monitor and an observer, a manager, a planner, and facilitator. So these are all the roles we have to change depending upon the situation. We should not stand only at the one point, and we have to move, and depending upon the context, we have to change our roles. We must become a facilitator, and we must become a friend also at certain times. Then only the students can feel free to talk to the teacher. So, till now, do you have any questions? I would like to take a 2 minutes time to ask you whether you're able to follow my accent, or are you able to follow what I'm telling? Dear friends, Anna, hello, hello.
Yes.
Till now, do you have any doubts till now? Just I was talking about the teacher roles and all. And would you like to pose some questions and share some ideas and how you are changing your role? Pardon?
I agree with the reflection practices that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I personally try to use it. I don't have a reflection journal you were talking about, but I do think about how the lesson went and how it can be improved next time.
Yeah, it's a very, very good idea for a teacher. So I'm very happy that it is useful for the teachers, especially for the any teacher, student, a teacher teaching the in the small children, and even to the adults, and even to the university education also. We are supposed to, because I am in government sector, it is compulsory for us. They check. We'll have academic audit also. There they will check our diaries. So whether we are strictly following the rules, or simply going and teaching something and coming out giving the some online material to the students. So in higher education level in India, we have academic audit. They check all our diaries. We have to note down what we are doing over there. And year after year, we have to change. The same lesson plan we are not supposed to use, because next year the same syllabus, the experience will be changing, right? So we have to add our experience to that. So we can change our teaching method in a different manner. And you might have observed, Irina, in the previous webinars, and you can find lot of difference in me while I'm teaching. So I improved myself. So I went for self analysis and reflections. So these reflections are helping me a lot to develop myself and helping my students and my colleagues, and without any inhibitions we are sharing everything. Now let's go back to the PowerPoint. Now, yes, so this is about the roles of a teacher, and we can have a small workshop also by inviting neighborhood teachers and giving this conducting a small workshop, like, and whether they are using pair work activities and how to change the role, and describing. We have to write mentor and the monitor and some small chits and place them and paste them at different corners of the walls, and you can send the teachers to discuss what are the roles of the mentor and what we are supposed to do, and what's a manager, how to manage the class. Thus, depending upon the strength of the students, we have to manage. We must have managerial skills to control the class if there are hecklers in the class, and sometimes we have to become a facilitator to them because they are learning a difficult language to them, and we must have a plan for that. And these are all the things we can have in a workshop, like with all the teachers and with your colleagues in your institution itself. Really, it went on very well once I have conducted that, and with my experience, I am telling that I do all this. And with all experience with the classroom, teachers should change. When to change and what to change? That's a question we have to put ourselves. A big question to us, depending on the reflections and self-analysis. Teaching and learning process takes place. Observe what is happening in the classroom. The teacher observation should be keen on every learner. Teacher should be a keen observer. So this is very important. I am talking about observation. Teacher should be a keen observer. Now let me tell you what the teacher should observe. What you have to observe? Keenly you have to observe what the students are doing in the class. What they are doing. Are they into the lesson? Are they concentrating? You observe, because you find many types of students in your class. Some may understand quickly, and some slow learners, they cannot understand quickly. And then three types of students will be there in the class. Some are visual, and some are auditory, and some students are kinesthetic. These are the three types of learning styles: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So this is a big chapter where I can discuss about it in any other next time. So visual means we must have ICT based teaching on the blackboard, that's writing something, and auditory, playing some audio record CDs, and kinesthetic, they would like to move and learn. So give them some activities so that they can move and learn certain things. So that is kinesthetic type of students. So these three types of students will be there in the class. So visual, auditory, and kinesthetic type of students will be there. So what we have to do? So how to teach three types of? So we have to use ICT, and it will help you all these things, and the activities will help you, the kinesthetic learners. Okay. So this slide is very, very useful for you. So you have to observe what learning is going on and how you need to shift from one method to another method. Your method of instruction should be changed. This is called reflection. See, I have given separate columns over here: in reflection, non-reflection, and reflection, because it leads to confusion. You must have remember what's meant by in reflection and the difference between in reflection and on reflection. This is reflection while teaching, acting immediately, and this reflection on reflection, that is thinking, planning your course of action for the next time, for the next class. That is after reflection. This is in reflection. Then I'll give a reference over here. A lot of material you can get. This is Schoon's theory is that there are two types of reflections. One during teaching and one after an active or event is when an event is over. So already I have explained all these things. Then how to do that? You have to, this is very important over here. In reflection, you may find one student. How to make out one student asking a student next to him and the learner is unable to understand, then you have to facilitate the learner by telling in your mother tongue. Sometimes you can use your mother tongue. So using bilingual method is not wrong. So the student feels comfortable. That is a comfort zone for him. We can use mother tongue, but judiciously. Judiciously you have to use. So if you use it, the student will feel comfortable and going on talking in the mother tongue. So let's not give the chance in the English class. So judiciously you have to use mother tongue. Then teacher can use bilingual. This is, and at this juncture you can use ICT or board and observe how this is going on. And then I would like to show you a video. Now watch it about the reflections. Really, it's a very interesting video.
You need to take the microphone off from your computer so that we can hear the sound of the video.
Microphone up. Microphone option.
It's disconnected from the slot so that we can hear the video sound in the video.
What, Arina? Can't hear the video?
Yes, no sound in the video. You need to take off your microphone from the laptop.
Okay, okay. They are not able to listen the video. We need to remove the microphone from the laptop. Stop moving it.
Still no sound. I found this video on YouTube, so here is the link in the chat box. Just open the link and watch it by yourself with the sound.
Irina, you can watch it later because I'll give the link. I sent it.
Okay, the link is also in the chat so they can watch it.
They can watch later.
Yes.
So let me continue from there. Okay. So that is very interesting video, and you can watch it later. And it talks. Then we shall talk about learning styles. Approach is the important technique in teaching English language. That is learning styles. I talked about kinesthetic learning style and involves the learners in learning activities and teaching through task-based activities. Just is a refreshing. And in that video, that is a Cole's experiential learning video. That is the theory works on 2 levels and 4 stages. The levels are in and on, and these are the 4 stages. You can see here concrete experience, that is by doing. You prepare and go to the class, you teach. And with all you teach, after that having an experience. That is concrete experience you are getting here. Then you will reflect It is reflective observation. Reviewing, reflecting is nothing but reviewing and reflecting on the experience. And then abstract conceptualization. You will come to a conclusion and think what I have to change. Then you use it, active experimentation. You do that in a redoing. That is doing, and we can say redoing with all your experience in a different manner. That is active experimental planning, trying out what you have learned. Then again coming to doing. So this time you do it in a different manner. See, doing, reflecting, changing the concept and experimenting on the students, and again doing. So this cyclic activity will help the teacher a lot. How this this is a Kolb's experiential learning cycle, we call it. Then who, if anyone, observes you are teaching. So in this is part of the reflections, and that is who you have to observe. If anyone observes your teaching, did anyone observe your teaching? This is a question to the listeners now. And whom you have to observe? Did you observe anyone? Did anyone observe your teaching? And do you ever observe other teachers teaching? And how do you feel about lesson observation? How do you feel about lesson observation? So this is very important. You have to work on these two. Did you ever observe your fellow teacher teaching? Were you being observed by anyone? And how do you feel about lesson observation? That is, classroom observation is valuable means of observing. It's very valuable. Unless somebody observes, how do we know how we are teaching? We may think that I am a good teacher. I am teaching in a better manner. But somebody has to tell you that both for the observing and observed is very useful, and it is important both for the observing and also observed. Observation is not for monitoring or for making judgment. Like, so it's not, they are not going to inspecting you, your colleagues. You can ask any one of your colleague to observe your class. Ask them to sit in your class, then ask them to observe. You can fill the gaps. It's not for a judgment like whether you are a good teacher or how you are teaching. Your teaching is good and average. Not like that. That is for improving oneself. And there is, you have to observe your fellow teacher, and because observation is a learning tool. Observation is a learning tool. We can learn many things from our colleagues. By observing, we can improve a lot. Then in order to help our learners improve, we need to observe the learners also. While they are learning or engaging in an activity, we do this by actively listening to them and carefully looking at what they are doing in the class. Observing learners is important because it helps us to realign our teaching to better suit their needs and levels. So without simply observing and completing the task will not help the teacher. You can realign by observing your learners. You can realign your teaching to better suit their needs and level of understanding. Then adapt new tasks, activities to suit their needs and level. As many activities you can give them. So many activities are there. You have to adapt them. Some home tasks can be given or activities out of the classroom. Then here is an important quotation. You love it. If real learning is to take place, our classrooms must be dependent on the collaboration of its learners, not solely on the knowledge of its teachers. See, what a beautiful sentence this is. It is not solely on the knowledge of its teacher, but depends upon the collaboration of its learners. So learners are helping us to develop. And how to give feedback effectively to our students or to the observant, to the fellow teachers. So learners can do well only when they are given clear and prompt feedback. Without giving any feedback, they will think that they are very good. Whether it is a positive or negative, we have to give a feedback. You have to talk to each and every student. So if there are any negative feedbacks, you need not start with, oh, you are bad, you are not good at studying. You shouldn't say that. You are very intelligent. Start with giving positive feedback. You can do better. You can do better. I know that. Then the student will feel happy. It will surely guide them to advance their learning. So it will works on their sense of perspective. So this feedback, teacher should give positive feedback, though even the negative qualities should be given in a positive manner. Then focus on the task being undertaken and the learning that the learner needs to do. Tell tell them how they have to improve, provide and facilitate them at the right time, that is at the time of examinations and examinations, that is progress test, promoting test, and process test, that is a right time. Give the learners positive strokes. So this is a word we have to use, meant for the teachers. Positive strokes, appreciations. Any appreciation will boost our energy. It will help them to develop confidence. What's the difference between the criticism and critiquing? Why is critiquing important? That means we can say that adverse criticism is better than excessive praise. So, here what I mean to say is we have to, while giving feedback, we have to tell them positively. So, you're very intelligent. Next time you can do better. I can assure you, don't feel bad. So, you can improve. Like that, we have to say, we have to tell them. And you need not always praise them. We have, because adverse criticism is better than excessive praise. So these excessive praises will spoil the student. They think that they will get this superiority complex. This superiority complex, they say that my teacher always praises me. I know that I am a good student. So that type of confidence, the student superiority complex will develop, and superiority complex will leads to failure, like here in the tortoise story. So in that story, what had happened here in the tortoise, the slow and steady when wins the race, when tortoise failed over there, um, rabbit and hare defeated. So it went and asked, we went for self-analysis there, the SWOT analysis. And the hare thinks, hey, what's the reason for me to fail? I'm such a fast running animal. Hey, this tortoise is slowly, it walks carrying its load on its back. And what happened to me? What's the reason? Then it went for self analysis, and the strength is a reason for the failure. It is an obstacle. The strength of the hare has become a hindrance or overconfidence to the threat, to the challenge. It SWOC, these days we are calling as SWOC instead of T. Not a threat, it's a challenge. So self-analysis, it realized we have to know ourselves. What's the reason for me? So we can ask a student to think about their go for self-analysis and tap their strengths in them. And this hair failed because of overconfidence, because many students will have a lot of overconfidence, and they will behave in such a manner, feeling so high of themselves. So the story is not ended there. Surprisingly, this hare went to tortoise and asked to go for a second race. So this time, hare is on alert. It kept away all the superiority complex. No, I must be very active this time. So I should not behave like that in the first race. So I must be alert. I must use all my strengths. And using the strength, the hare won the race second time. So this time, so many miles ahead, it reached the goal and it is sitting happily, and tortoise defeated. Tortoise defeated. So this, we can say, the moral here is fast and consistent will win the race. In the first race, slow and steady wins the race. And in the second story, fast and consistent wins the race. Okay. Tortoise felt very sad. I know I'm a slow walking creature. I can't walk. So what I can do? It thought and thought, and it for many times, and he wanted to go for another race. It went to Hare's house and knocked the door. And my dear friend, I'd like to have a race for third time. So this time, what they did, they changed the goal and they changed the way. And the hare ran away quickly and sat on the bank of the river. There is a river. He cannot jump and swim and reach the goal. He was sitting there silently awaiting tortoise to come. Tortoise reached there slowly, jumped into the river, and reached the bank of the other side of the river and won the race. Oh, so now they are using their core competencies. So every teacher or every individual will have different core competencies. My core competencies are different from my friend's core competencies. Here, the core competency of tortoise is it can swim in the water quickly, and the core competence of the hare is it can walk quickly on the land. So these are the core competencies. So we need in an organization anything like we are doing in. So in an organization, we must have both type of people, slow and steady, and we must have fast and consistent. And third time when they want to go, they become friends. They want to go for another friendly race. So this time they became friends and hare carried tortoise on its back and they reached the river bank. And in the river, tortoise jumped into the river and took hare on its back and swam quickly and reached the goal. Together, they reached the goal. So that is sharing core competencies. In the while observing what I was talking, linking up this is to with the observation of fellow teachers. So we have to share the core competencies to run any organization or any teamwork, because with one man's job, that is not a one man show. We have to share all the core competencies of the people over there, and we have to make use of them, and we have to learn from them, and they have to learn from us. Then like that we can improve and we can make we can work hand in hand and we can lead to a very good success. We can do a good job over there in any organization like. Then here, so this I would like to skip this. Already told how to give feedback and all, and the points you have to note down. Oh, this is very important slide, because when you want to give a feedback to a fellow teacher, these are the points you have to note down. How he is greeting the class as soon as the teacher goes, creating learning environment, getting started, introducing them to the particular lesson. Teacher should not go immediately, okay, come on students, take the page number 14. I'm going to teach that lesson. We shouldn't say like that. We have to getting started, introduce them to the particular lesson. That is peer teaching activity. Observe teachers talk time and learners talk time, and teacher centered or learner centered classroom, whether it is, and whether the class is ITCD integrated or each teacher roles are getting changed. We have to observe whether teacher is moving or not, and teacher's observation and learner's feedback, and finally evaluation. All these things you have to note down, and you can ask your friend or fellow teacher to observe you when you are taking the class, and you have to go and observe them. Like that we can exchange our core competencies, and we can do a good job for the future of the learner, and we can teach him in a very better manner. Then all the peer observations and the feedbacks helps the teacher as a learner. Teacher should be a learner, and teachers, we often focus on our learners learning. See, our main aim is to focus on learners learning, and we have to think about our as a learner, think about us as a learner. So classroom is an environment for learning for both the teacher as well as the learner. If there is no classroom teaching, we don't learn anything. We simply do some other work. Any common core will be attending. So if there is a class, we have to prepare on the previous day or before 1 month or 1 week, like that. Annual lesson plans, tentative plans we will be having, and we will go accordingly. So we have to become a teacher as well as a student. The classroom environment helps the teacher as well as student to learn. Then learning as an individual can happen jointly and collectively for teacher and learners. That means both the teacher and learners are jointly learning here. That is the title. Now I am going to the title what I have given to this this class. That is experiential learning, teaching learning process, instruction, construction, and co-construction. That is, instruction is what we are teaching, and collectively we are doing for teacher and learner. The model here, emerging knowledge from the learning science. If you go to the internet and Jumont, if you type it, and you will get very good information. There you can learn a lot more things about this. Changing the experience of learning happens through new learning and new methods. And asking learners when they are going with their learning, how they are going with their learning, we have to ask them. And the social nature of learning, we have to, the role of emotions in learning, identifying and acknowledging. It's very important. This is individual difference in learners, stretching all learners to make a contribution. Are learners able to identify what quality works like and what they need to do to improve? And can learners make connections across subject areas, but also within and outside the school, finding out what's going on just for learners, but with parents, family, and community and other stakeholders. That is outside the classroom. And teacher must have a focusing area for the learner. What you are teaching, you focus on it. Don't deviate. The teaching method varies from literature and language. So when you are teaching, it is different. When you are teaching language classroom is different by giving activities like, and how are you contributing your knowledge to the learners by creating learning environment? What type of environment you are creating in the classroom? Learning is to be connected with the new methods. For example, digital literacy for screenagers. It must fulfill the needs of the society and learn the new approaches and implement. They are more useful than previous approaches. Then collaborative. What is this collaborative activities? With colleagues within the school and outside. Instruction is a method of teaching, while instructing, teacher also learns. So instructing is teaching. So what we do, we prepare and we give instructions. So instructing teacher also learns. Then so learning takes place while teaching. So while teaching, what is happening? Learning is taking place both for the teacher as well as the learner. So the cycle of do, review, and redo is, we know, but here there is a major shift. That is, when the teacher is teaching, we call it as a construction. So instruction is shifting to construction. So what is meant by this? What's meant by this construction? Construction means learning something in a constructive way. Oh, I learned this today. The teacher has instructed this and I have learned this. So here we, both the teacher as well as the student, are learning with instruction. While giving instructions, we have to learn. And at the time of construction, the student is learning together and learning in pairs or in groups. Learners work together in a collaborative way, that is called as construction. Very interesting this is. And the spiral of inquiry is a very interesting topic. If you, I have given a link here, you can go through it later when you find some time. And these also very good people. They are Timperley, Kasser, and Halbert, and they talked about the classroom activities, that we have to scan the class. He says we have to scan what's happening at every corner and focus. And hunches, it's a new word. Hunches means how are we contributing to the situation? That is hunches. Hunches are contribution to the situation. Hunches are ideas, are assumptions about what is leading to the situation that you want to change. Hunches are often incomplete and maybe wrong. So we think that I'm changing, but we are not sure that whether it is reaching them in a right way or not. So many people believe their hunches to be true. So the real change is to express them in ways that can be tested to see whether they really are leading to the current situation. Then new learning accordingly to the needs of the present scenario, it's very important. And then taking action, that is implementing new action and testing its impact on the students. And this causes transformational learning. See, the transformational learning, we are going to give the transformational learning process now. We have to transform, we have to shift from instruction to construction with a quality and equity for all learners. So innovation floats on a sea of inquiry, and curiosity is a drive for change. It's a caption, but it's not in two bullets. It's only one thing. Then another beautiful video is there for you at your leisure. Watch the link, and uh, you will be knowing so many things. So how I want to conclude by saying that instruction we are preparing, and we are allowing our students to for construction. That means constructing something useful for them, learning, they are constructing the language. So here the learning is taking place between the teacher as well as the student, that is shifting from instruction to construction, and then from construction to co-construction. Co-construction means collectively, it is a collective activity. So all are learning, they're learning in groups, and we are forming some communities and talking with other people working in some other place in different environment and different mother tongue and with different language. So this topic is talking about how a teacher should become a learner, and how the student is providing an opportunity for the student to learn. So the learners are giving us some opportunity to develop, to learn certain things, new things, and we are learning them and we are using them in the class. That is instruction. Shifting, that's a great shift, instruction to construction, and construction to co-construction, that is a collaborative activity. So this is about this today's topic. I think you all have learned so many things regarding with this, and if you want to have some queries and some discussion, let's have some discussion. Irina?
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy that it is very useful for the teachers. We have,
Yes,
it's
and
very yeah.
even if some teachers sometimes are afraid to be observed, there is nothing to be afraid of. Like, you need to invite your colleagues, because only they can maybe pinpoint something that you don't notice while teaching.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Right.
So some observers we have to even when we are observed, we have some inhibitions to
Right.
teach the lesson before our colleagues. So we
Yes.
shouldn't have that type of inhibitions. Like the hare and the tortoise, we have to share our core competencies, and we can
Yes.
become better teachers.
And I like how you presented it in a kind of metaphorical way with
Yeah.
turtle and hare. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Everybody says thank you in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. If you want to talk to me later, any doubts, and Irina has my mail ID, and you can talk to me. I can talk to at any time. If you invite me, I'm very happy to share all my ideas to you at any time.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.